Recording in progress.
Yo, what up? What up, folks? I'm your boy Trey Frazier, and I got my brother Maestro Styles here with me today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Welcome, folks. It's another episode, another week of the Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. Shout out to everybody that's watching us right now. If you're on Twitter Live, Facebook Live, or YouTube Live, you're in the right place to be. Continue to follow us on those platforms, and also on our social media front. With Instagram, you can follow us at Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. Another week, man. Maestro, what's popping, man? How we feeling today?
Hey, man. Cool, man. We're starting a little late, so I got an opportunity to work out today, so that's good,
That's what's
But
up.
I pre-warner, I'm a little more tired than normal.
Yay. Like I said in the in the warm up, man. I appreciate you for allowing us to get started a little later than we normally do. One of the reasons is our guest who we hope to get on tonight is a Knicks content creator, goes by the name of Simeon Russell. Nothing but Knicks, mbkfam.com, does pregame and postgame content, before and after every Knicks game, and we'll be doing that during the postseason. So he's going to come on with us probably the next 25 minutes. Also coaches the girls team at the Southern Maryland Christian Academy down in Charles County. So there's a little bit of New York, Maryland ties here amongst the three of us here. So, looking forward to that. I ain't gonna front, bruh. I'm a little bit not 100% myself. The weather has been crazy. As you know, I was in Atlanta last week. The ride back home was crazy. Friday was 80 in Atlanta. Saturday, bruh, that thing dropped to 46. And our whole ride to North Carolina was just straight rain, bruh. It was crazy. So, but thank God for that pit stop though, because we couldn't do that whole ride. So we stayed outside of Raleigh someplace, and we came back home Sunday, kind of finishing the trip up. Sunday was much nicer than Saturday. I don't know what the weather was like here, but I got word from people that it was kind of similar to where I was at, from what I heard, kind of up and down, a lot of allergies going on, pollen, people under the weather, that kind of a thing. But I'm here, bruh. I'm here. We got to get the show. It must go on. Got to get it done. So
Yeah, man. So we can get straight into it then. Why in the super hell is y'all paying Odell Beckham $15 million guaranteed?
I think because they wanted to outbid whoever. Whoever. It's funny because I was just thinking about this earlier, and for first and foremost, shout out to Eric DaCosta for making this move. It is definitely an overpay. It's definitely money that 15 guaranteed. I think he can make up to 18 million, something like that. It was a move that had to be made. And I agree with everyone that says that we overpaid for Odell Beckham. Yeah, you're damn right we did.
Why did it have to be made?
In my opinion, it had to be made because, look at our receiving core. It's, we don't have the best receiving core. We're like in the bottom 10th of the league in, receiving core last year, at least. Everyone's been talking about how the offense is not wide receiver friendly, and now that we got rid of Greg Roman and we got Todd Monken in here, remember Todd Monken was the coordinator in Cleveland when Odell was there, so there is some familiarity with this. Now I'll also say this too, Lamar Jackson did shout him out on IG. They did a little FaceTime joint right after they announced that Odell was getting signed. They ended up in the club chilling later. All signs point to that, and I was 80% confident the whole time that the rate that he would be the quarterback. Um, Lamar is QB1 as far as I'm concerned. This fall. I think this signing helps take that next step towards getting Lamar a deal. I still don't know if they're gonna finalize that deal or not. Worst case, I think he plays on the tag at what 32.4, $32.6 million, something like that. So yeah, man. I'm happy, bro. I know there's haters out there. Can I name drop? Can I name
Yeah,
drop?
I'm never gonna stop you.
Because it's been a lot of talk about the Ravens flock organizing a funeral, and shout out to D from D Love
Oh, you're not
Sports.
shooting. Oh, never mind. You're not shooting at home. Hey, you're not. Yeah, nah, take your
Nah,
name off,
nah,
bro.
I got to. Nah, I got to. I
Nah, you're
got
not
to.
shooting at.
I
All
got
right,
to.
well then,
And I
then I
like
gotta
D.
ride.
I like
Of
D.
course, of
I
course
like
we're
I like
joking.
the content.
Of course we're joking. You're not really taking
Yeah,
a shot
I,
at
I
me.
love I love the content. She's one of the best at creating content out there. But I had to watch her talk about prepping a funeral at M&T Bank Stadium for the Ravens flock because they're gonna fumble Lamar, they're gonna lose out on him, and somebody's gonna make an offer sheet and all this stuff. You got Jody Newsome out there with the with the pictures of Cam Newton in a Ravens jersey. And then my brother Brian T. Jones is over here talking about he's gone. We've been saying it all along. Lamar's gonna play for somebody else and all this stuff. Look, y'all. Look, I was confident. I look, and I have no choice but to be. That's my team. I was confident that somehow they'll find a way to. And look, there's still some steps to be made, but this Odell signing certainly is a step in the right direction. As far as I'm concerned, Lamar is not going anywhere. In 2023, he suits up for the Ravens. He will be the starter QB1 week 1 come September after Labor Day weekend. So that's kind of where I stand at. And look, yeah, you
All
had to
right, bro. All
see,
right, bro.
you
All right,
had
bro.
to see.
I can't let
Nah,
this go on,
nah,
bro.
nah. Let me get my
I
rocks
can't let
off.
it.
Let me get my rocks off.
Come on, bro.
And again. Look. Everybody that I name drop, I got love for y'all. We just playing over here. It's nothing but sports and all that stuff. But it was finally good to see a little bit of disappointment, and particularly with D Love Sports. So she got to the point where she didn't even want to do her own Twitter Spaces the next day. So that was a little, that was nice to see that. So the floor is yours, brother.
So,
What's your take on this?
so you feel like, so you were at 80% before this happened, and you feel
Yes.
like Odell Beckham raises that significantly from 80%?
Yeah, I think it's the next step. I think it's a step towards them at least trying to get Lamar back to the negotiating table and try to work something out because, again, just like you, we think that there's some teams out there that's kind of, bluffing with the whole, we're not interested. We're going to move on with this quarterback. We're going to make these moves and all this stuff. Like I saw the Falcons make a move earlier today with Detroit to get that corner from them. And, Atlanta was one of those teams that was like, it makes perfect sense. But then they're spending money elsewhere, on defense. And so, yeah, I think it's a next step in the right direction to, at some point, get Lamar a long-term deal. You don't sign a dude and then have your son put on a Lamar jersey and then FaceTime the dude and then be in the club with him, the next day. That doesn't happen. This probably was something that was going on behind the scenes. This was probably being talked about for maybe weeks now. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case.
So let me be clear on what my stance is. In case I know I've been picking on you for a long time about this Lamar Jackson. Let's be clear. I think that Lamar Jackson is going to be a Baltimore Raven next year. Let's be clear about that.
Mm-hmm.
While I'm not at 80%, I do think he's going to be a Baltimore Raven.
Hmm.
With that being said, signing Odell Beckham, who and giving him $15 million, is not a further step into assuring that he plays for the Baltimore Ravens in no stretch.
Why do you think that?
I was getting there.
Hmm.
If First of all, we don't even know who Odell Beckham is going to be on the field. I'm sure. That Odell Beckham has a relationship with Lamar Jackson, like many other receivers who respect his game in the league have a relationship with him.
Yeah.
Well, unless you know about some special, specific ties that they have to each other,
Hmm.
it's just camaraderie, like it always is when you're happy to get to play for a quarterback that you believe
Yeah.
is going to be a good quarterback.
Yep.
But that don't mean nothing, in my opinion, for Lamar Jackson and his hope and your hopes or your percentages of him becoming a bottom or being or continue to stay with the Ravens. I mean, let's be clear. While Odell Beckham is the best receiver on that team right now, he ain't a number one receiver.
You don't think so?
I don't think you think so. You think he's a number one receiver right now?
Okay, so let's backtrack. So he is our number one receiver, but you're
Oh,
asking,
okay.
is he a number one no matter where he goes? That's what you're asking.
Right. You don't believe that.
Yeah, no, I don't think he's at this point in his career. He's 30 years old. I don't think he is what he once was before he got hurt in the Super Bowl. Which, by the way, and you and I, we watched that Super Bowl together in the same room. That dude was about to win Super Bowl MVP with the way he was balling before he got hurt. So I just want to throw that out there.
Um, yeah. Yeah, but he's not a number one receiver. And shout out to him because I agree he was definitely going to win MVP and all those wonderful things before he got injured. Let's be clear. I'm happy he got his bag. Let me be very clear. I'm happy he got his bag. I'm
Yep.
happy he overpaid it. I'm happy that Baltimore overpaid for him. All those things are good things for me, and I'm sure for Odell Beckham. But this doesn't move the needle in my opinion as far as Lamar Jackson staying with the Ravens. And no, and I mean like
Does
not
it
even
for you? Does it move it further away then? Or do you think it
no,
just kind of stays the same?
it stays the exact same for me. I mean, if anything, you spent more money on what you made. I mean, I don't know when that money would have kicked in for Lamar Jackson, but the way I see it, you spent more money that
Yeah.
should have been going to Lamar Jackson. So I
Well,
mean,
the cap and just I don't mean to cut you, but the cap hit is like $1 million, and I'm still trying to figure out how that works. But I heard someone say that deal for Odell doesn't affect them coming to a long-term solution with Lamar. Like they could come together and say, "Hey, we got a deal. It's not going to have any effect on how much money he gets or what kind of scale that is. You know what I'm saying? Like the
what year
years and
did
all
it?
that stuff."
What year did they bring Steve Smith into Baltimore? How old was Steve Smith?
Oh, Steve Smith had to be mid-30s, right?
Mid
I'm
30s.
thinking he had to be like mid-30s. So,
I don't know, man. And obviously Steve Smith was good for Baltimore, but this smells of that.
um, Odell is 5 years younger
Younger,
than when
sure,
Steve was there.
but
I
a little
get
more, but a little more injured.
yes, and I understand that. I understand, and like I said earlier, there's injury concerns. We don't know what he's gonna look
And
like
I
when
don't
he
know,
hits the
and I don't
field.
know, and I don't know Odell Beckham to be a dog like Steve Smith is. Steve
That
Smith
that
a
part
dog.
that part I agree with. But now, question: does he have to be one? I guess
No,
is
no,
the,
I'm
is the
just
question.
saying.
Okay,
I'm just saying.
okay.
I'm just saying that Steve Smith was a better acquisition. Just looking at it from right now,
Mm-hmm.
Steve Smith was a better acquisition for y'all when y'all signed him than this is now.
As it stands right now, yes. Because we've seen what
I'm,
Steve Smith Sr. has done, we have yet to see what Odell is going to do.
I
So,
don't think Odell
yeah.
Beckham. Respectfully, I don't think Odell Beckham is going to measure up in this 1 year.
Well, let's say we get to a conference championship round. I mean, Steve
He
Smith.
won't be doing that.
Well, let's just hypothetically say that they do.
Sure,
If they
sure.
do, then the signing to me is a success. Like if he plays all
Well,
16 17 games, if Odell is healthy for all 17 games. Like, even if he misses a game or two, but if he's there the majority of the time and he's productive in this offense, this now, it's more of a pass offense now with Todd Monken, then it's a success. And look at it from Odell's perspective. Odell is trying to basically get his final contract. Let's be real. 30 years old, injury prone. It's kind of a prove it deal, 1 year to kind of prove, okay, you still can play, then maybe we can work something out, long term after 2023. This is kind of what this is. And you could say the same for Lamar too. If Lamar plays on a tag, this is 1 year to, ball out for both of these guys. And if both guys ball out and they avoid injuries, major injuries, then both guys are going to get their bags.
I do not understand your elation with this signing, bro. It's nothing that you're saying that's making me feel like I get. Why
so what's the alternative? What's the alternative?
I mean, to be honest, the alternative is not get a receiver that's not going to cost you $15 million. You might be able to get
who's that guy? Who's that guy?
I don't know off the top of my head, but I don't think Odell Beckham is the answer.
Because let's be honest, who else is out there? Because D-Hop and I've seen a lot of DeAndre Hopkins trade ideas. I've seen a lot of that. I don't know what he's getting paid right now. Do you know what he's getting paid right now? Okay.
I'm not even on the top of my head. I'm not even on the top of my head thinking about another available receiver. I'm saying Odell Beckham for $15 million is too much damn money.
Okay.
And I wouldn't be happy about that.
Sometimes you got to overpay, bruh. I mean, it is what it is, bruh. It is what it is. Some teams. We've seen other teams do this. Do this.
Again, I don't understand your elation with it. You seem happy. Happy that you overpaid for Odell Beckham and you don't know what you're going to get. This could very well be a bust. Stat production wise, what's a good season for you?
Good season for me, for him coming off an injury. Yeah, I would say just north of 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns. And then you got to remember too, Rashad Bateman was hurt last year, so we're gonna get Rashad Bateman back healthy. Duvernay, the same thing. Duvernay's going to come back healthy. The Aguilar signing, okay, whatever. I mean, Aguilar is going to be probably the 3rd or the 4th receiver on the team. So, yeah, Odell is going to be the number 1 on this team. And I think if you got those guys healthy with Bateman, Odell, and Duvernay, along with Mark Andrews, and Isaiah Likely starts to get more involved in the offense. And then don't forget about the running backs that we got. JK, expressing his frustrations with the offense now, gets a new offense to go in. I'm excited about, what the potential could be. Now, could it fail? Yeah, it could fail. And I'm just talking about the Odell part. Yeah, it could be a bust, but you got to take risks, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you got to go in. The Rams went all in, and they got a Super Bowl out of it. And they're terrible, but they went all in, and they got a Super Bowl. Some teams feel like, hey, we got to go all in. We got to do what's necessary to want to win. Not to compare this situation, but the Eagles said, that's what I'm saying. I'm not comparing the situation, but I'm saying the Eagles did something that the Ravens normally don't do. They went out, they traded for a receiver, and they paid him big money. And yes, the receiver's in his prime too. But again, it's something that we normally don't do. This Odell signing is something that we normally don't do. Well, at least the money part of it is something that we don't do. As far as getting vet receivers, we do that, but the money that we paid, look, it is what it is, bruh. Nothing's gonna steal my joy right now. This is the signing. I mean, everybody complained about the offense. Everybody complained about Eric DeCosta not building the team, not building the offense. Everybody complained that, oh, the Ravens don't value wide receiver. Well, now we went out and we got a guy, and people still want to bitch and complain about it. So, you know what? So you know what? you know what? I'm gonna let the haters hate. I'm gonna let them get
Oh
their
my.
rocks off. I'm happy about the signing. The Ravens flock is happy about it. Look, Lamar is happy about it. Let's go, man.
Lamar Jackson is happy for Odell Beckham because he know he shouldn't have got that much damn money for that wide receiver for that spot on that team. Um, hey, well, don't let me be the one to attempt to steal your joy. But what I will say is this, and we don't got to keep on pushing the conversation. Um, Ain't no way in hell that 15 million that they overpaid for him.
Yeah,
Period.
I
And the
agree with
only
you.
and then
I
and
agree
there's
with
no
you.
way and there's no way that if I'm a Ravens fan, there's no way that I'm happy about overpaying for Odell Beckham at this stage of the game. I feel like you could have got him for cheaper, and I feel like he would have and hit him with the situation where all right, you ball for us next year, and we going to take care of you type situation. I feel like they overpaid
Yeah,
and it's nothing to be happy about. And then
we agree there. We agree
and
that
then
they
and then to
overpaid.
and then to rebut the whole, I'm gonna ignore you mentioned the Eagles. I'm gonna go back to the Rams.
Okay.
The Rams. I mean that I guess that's the the best comparison because they didn't. But I don't even know what they signed Odell Beckham for. I don't know. I
Well,
don't.
I didn't mention the Rams because of Odell Beckham specifically. I mentioned the Rams because they switched the quarterback because they had to get a better quarterback. They traded for Matt Stafford, and I think Matt Stafford's getting paid $40 million a year right now.
Mm-hmm,
So,
mm-hmm.
and people would say, "Oh, Matt Stafford's overpaid," and that's true.
Who said
But,
that?
huh?
Who said
A
that?
lot of folks have said that Matt
He
Stafford was
won the Super
overpaid.
Bowl.
No.
No,
Prior. I'm talking about prior to them
still
winning the
no.
Super Bowl.
Okay. I don't know who said that. I
No.
disagree with that
Again,
opinion.
I'm talking about prior to
I
winning the Super
I'm
Bowl.
hearing you, and I don't know who the hell said that. I disagree with
That's
that.
a
I don't.
to
I
me
disagree
that's
with that. I
I don't
disagree
know
with that.
how you do when the dude been with Detroit all them years, and I get he was the one guy that
And
was trying to make stuff happen, but I mean look at the results in Detroit with him. I mean the Rams trade for him, it was a risk, but they won the Super Bowl. And then if you
Detroit.
and if you want to throw Odell Beckham as a part of that too, then yeah, that was, and I don't know how
Okay.
much money they paid him,
Let's
but
do well. To your example, then
yep.
you feel like which was the bigger risk? Odell Beckham to the Ravens or Matthew Stafford to the Rams?
Oh, it's the Ravens as a bigger risk from
Okay.
a receiver standpoint, but let's not act like them trading for Matthew Stafford like, oh, this is gonna happen. Like, nobody saw the Rams. No, nobody saw the Rams winning the Super Bowl that year. Them dudes was a 4 seed,
No.
bruh. Nobody saw that.
No, I'm a disagree. But when he was signed,
Mm-hmm.
I remember. I remember vague. I'm gonna say vague. I ain't gonna say I remember 100%. I remember vaguely coming on this podcast and saying Matthew Stafford on a team that has a roster has a very good chance
They
of
could
going to the
compete.
Super
Yes, they
Bowl.
could compete. Yes, they could contend. I
Right.
think we talked
So
about that. Yeah, they can
right.
contend. Yeah.
This is not the same comparison. Odell Beckham to the Ravens doesn't mean the Ravens have a better chance at competition. At least not at the level that we're talking about Matthew Stafford what the
Okay.
Rams is.
Okay, so we don't have to. We could stop there. We don't have to compare competition levels. But let's be
Well,
honest here.
that's essentially what you said. You said the comparison was it was a risk for Matthew Stafford. It wasn't a
Yeah,
big.
I'm comparing the risk. Now I'm saying as far as them competing now, Odell Beckham makes them better. By how much? By how much? We're gonna find out.
Not contending for the Super Bowl better. Not contending for the Super Bowl better.
I don't know about that.
And specifically in the AFC, not contending in the Super Bowl better. Nah.
I don't know about that.
So you
So
think
is it because he's a number one? So let's say he's
no?
so
It's big. It's well, okay, sure. If that's how you want to frame it, sure. But if he's the best receiver on your team, and he's not, Mark Andrews is. Let's be clear about that.
okay.
But if he's the best receiver, but I'm assuming Like, what do you think you're going to gain from Odell Beckham? Do you think he's going to be that receiver that breaks out in a game when you need him to break out in the playoffs? Like, how do you see this going?
Yeah, well, look, the last time we saw Odell Beckham, the dude was balling in the Super Bowl before he got hurt. So it's not
Also,
like
Cooper.
so,
Also, Cooper Kupp was on that team.
yeah, I understand that. But let's not act like Odell wasn't the guy in New York when he was with New York. And I get that was a younger Odell, but
Younger Odell, less injured Odell. Like, come on, bro. We're not gonna do that comparison.
so you don't think he could be a possession receiver? Like you don't think he could be
I don't think he's going to be.
You don't think he could be a Derek Mason type guy, possession guy,
A Derek
third
Mason
down,
type,
third down guy? Like you don't think he could be that?
a Derek Mason type. Yes, I do, but that's not going to be enough to win a Super Bowl. That's not going to be enough to contend for a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I'm not following your logic here. I think
So you're saying
I think it opens things
still,
up for. I think it's gonna make Rashad Bateman a better receiver. I think it's gonna make Duvernay a better number 3. I think when you look at the core, like just look at those 3 guys, and yeah, I think they could present some matchup nightmares.
Open guy? Who's your blow the game open guy?
Oh, Bateman. Bateman will be your blow the game open guy.
Okay.
He better be. He better be. Because if it's Odell, then that's a big problem. It's a big problem.
I'm telling you now, that's going to be a bust.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
Okay.
If you're telling me that Bateman is going to be the guy that's busting the game open, I call Capricorn, and y'all are not going far in the playoffs. I'm not saying you won't make the playoffs. I don't know how Pittsburgh going to pan. I don't know how Cleveland going to pan. Like,
yeah, Buffalo lost some players too. Like, let's not act like the Bills are.
I'm not talking about Baltimore going to the playoffs. Even though y'all haven't made it in the past 2 years.
Made what, the playoffs? We was in the playoffs last year.
Last year, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But I'm not talking about y'all going to the playoffs. I'm talking about y'all competing in the playoffs.
Right.
Y'all not going to compete in the playoffs with hoping Rashad Bateman is going to blow games open because Odell Beckham is going to be a Derek Mason. Nah, I don't believe that. I don't think you believe that, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I do.
If
all those guys are healthy,
I think you're hoping for that.
If all those guys are healthy, and I'll run the names down again. You got Mark Andrews. Isaiah Likely gets involved in the offense more. This is a different offensive scheme now. This isn't Greg Roman anymore. The running backs are coming back. Rashad Bateman, Duvernay is coming back.
Confident that Monaghan is going to be the guy that turns this all around in one season.
Well, I mean, not to compare college to pro.
You hope this.
Of course, everybody has to hope it at some point.
Sure, but you don't believe it, is what I'm saying.
I believe it. I believe it.
Okay.
I believe it. His time in Cleveland, their offense wasn't terrible, but Baker was the quarterback, so you got to factor that in.
Cool.
Yeah, they was cool. They was alright. And again, I don't want to throw his college years in there. I mean, they won the national championship back-to-back seasons with Georgia, but I don't want to compare that to
no need to mention
the pros. So
no need to mention it.
So then here we are. It's a new offense. It's not Greg Roman's system anymore. It's going to be a different scheme where wide receivers are going to be more involved in the scheme. So, and if you're telling me that this is the case, then yes, number one, I have hope for this offense. And number two, with the Odell Beckham addition, along with getting those guys back off of injury, combined with Mark Andrews and J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards and Isaiah Likely and Lamar Jackson playing on the tag, hopefully it's, on a long-term deal, but we'll say for now, on the tag. That's not a bad offense, bro. Like, that's not...
I'm not saying it's a bad offense. I'm saying it's not competing for it's not going far in the playoffs.
Okay. Okay. I don't know what to tell you, bro. But, I mean, let's say, because I guess the other side of the talk is that this was one of Aaron Rodgers' wish lists to get Odell Beckham to the Jets. And now that he's with us, now there's this conversation about... is there something going on with the Jets that maybe he knows that maybe this deal with Rodgers kind of falls through and the Jets are kind of right back to square one with trying to find a quarterback. Obviously, if Odell went to the Jets, he would be the number 3, I would say, because you got Lazard, Garrett Wilson will be your number 1, and I don't know who the tight end is over there, but you're gonna have those guys there, and I mean,
but see, that's
what would the reaction be if the Jets came in and paid Odell $15 million?
I would still say he was overpaid, but at least the situation that you're trying to present to the Ravens would be a little more relevant because we know Garrett Wilson will blow the roof off. We know that. We know Lazard will blow the roof off. So that's the thing. Like you telling me about Rashad Bateman.
Wait a minute. So and I get it. Rashad Bateman hasn't had enough tape, and he's had back-to-back seasons with injuries. But when he was there, we've seen flashes of him, breaking apart a defense and flying by some guys. We've seen some tape of that.
Flashes.
So
okay, but you're saying that with Odell Beckham healthy and all these things that Rashad Bateman is
and healthy
going to.
And he's healthy.
And obviously, everything going right. For a fact, Rashad Bateman is going to be that dude that's blowing the top off of defenses, and I don't believe that. There's no way I believe that.
It's that Pittsburgh in you, bruh.
No, it's not because it's not.
Okay.
You're not comparing Rashad Bateman to even Lazard. In that caliber of playing football, you're not comparing Rashad Bateman. You're not gonna give me Rashad Bateman.
Yeah, but that's
Lazard.
not. But the gap is not that big, though. Let's be honest there. I mean,
I
hear you.
It is because I hear Lazard do it.
I hear you, but that gap is not that big.
We've seen Lazard do it. You're not about to tell me that you seen Lazard do it.
Yeah, because he's been healthy. Because he's been healthy.
All right, so you haven't seen him do it consistently in Bateman
because of injuries, not because he sucks, not because he's a bad receiver.
Nobody's saying he sucks. Nobody's saying he's a bad receiver.
No, I'm not saying you are. I'm just telling you the reasons why we haven't seen it enough of him is because he hasn't been healthy enough.
Man, I wish one day I'm gonna take this painting down and I'm gonna put Post-its of some of the bullshit you say about the Ravens. So you're telling me I'll tell you this. If we find out, and we're gonna bring the guests on, I promise, bro. We ain't gonna leave you in the middle of a conversation too crazy. I'll throw it like this: who has a better season in that role, in your opinion? Rashad Bateman versus Lazard. Who has a better deep threat season?
A better deep threat season?
Yes.
I would say right now it's Lazard, but again, it's because of. We haven't seen enough of Rashad Bateman. Yeah, this year. Yeah, no, this year. I would lean toward Alan Lazard.
I'm gonna try to sum this up and bring the guests on. So you're saying that he's not even going to have a better season catching the deep ball than Lazard this year? But this is the guy that you feel like is going to be your blow the offense.
Well, just because we're comparing the two doesn't mean that the expectations on the Ravens side is going to be that much less.
But you also said this was going to be a passing offense with Monica being there.
Well, no, I said this is going to be a offense that will incorporate the wide receivers a lot more than Greg Roman's offense does.
I feel you. Let's go ahead.
Yeah, because you're really irking me right now. But let's get the guest on right now. Shout out to everybody in the Facebook live chat tuning in right now. I'm happy to welcome this brother in. I've watched him do post game and pre game for Knicks content. Nothing but Knicks, NBKfam.com. Got the brother here, Sim Russell, Coach Sim Russell. My brother, man, thank you so much, man, for joining us, man. How you feeling?
I feel good, man. I appreciate you guys.
No doubt.
Absolutely.
No doubt. Go ahead, Maestro. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, well, first off, welcome. Salute, nice to meet you, and all that, man. So, I guess tell us Give us a little background about how you got into what you do, how you got into it.
Into podcasting with MBK.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Yeah,
well, before I was podcast, first of all, I'm a lifelong Knicks fan.
no
Right, since
doubt,
86. Since 86, I've been a Knicks fan.
no doubt.
And I guess I was 10 years old at that time, something like that. So I'm a lifelong Knicks fan. I've been through the ups and the downs, a lot of downs, some ups, during that time span. So, and I stuck with the Knicks. I stuck with them, rocking with them. And I moved. I'm originally from upstate New York,
Okay.
and I moved to Maryland in like 2000. All right, so I've been in Maryland for like 20 years. 20
We
years.
got some similarities here.
I'm about to say,
I'll get to it in a second. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And when I was here, there was, I didn't know anybody, so there wasn't like Knicks fans to talk to. And I'm a diehard Knicks fan, so there was nobody to talk to about the Knicks. And even at the time, I don't even think there was League Pass yet. So I had to find ways to, the internet was
Man,
there. So I
speak on it.
Get streams and get games and stuff like that. I would listen to a few podcasts of people that would, talk about the Knicks. And I would read the New York Post and Daily News, to get all my information about what was going on. And I said, man, there must be other people out there like me. So let me blog. You know what I'm saying? Let me blog about the Knicks. You know what I mean? And so I started to blog. I didn't do a lot of blogging for as long as, I've been doing this, but I started to do some blogs and it began to catch on, right? It began to catch on because of Twitter, right? I had a good following on Twitter at the time. And, I would post my link on Twitter. And so that's when, people started to read the blogs. And then, Twitter had the whole thing where you could get verified and all of that. Obviously, right now they're doing something different. You could pay to get verified.
Yeah.
Right. And I submitted an application to get verified, and it deleted my whole Twitter account.
Oh wow!
Right. So I was like, so I emailed them and said, hey, my Twitter account's been emailed. I tried to get verified, blah 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 blah, and they hit me back and said, well, we don't see an account. We don't see that you ever had an account. And I'm like, all right, what am I supposed to do? So I had to restart the account, but then of course it takes time to build back up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so then my blog wasn't really getting hits. And blogging, I was kind of so with it. I liked it, I enjoyed it, but it took a lot of time.
Man, talk about it.
You know what I mean? It took a lot of time. So I was already kind of so. And I had created a YouTube account, never did anything with it. This was about 2017. And I said, well, let me do a video. See, let me do a video. So I did a video, did a little introduction video, and did a little breakdown on the Knicks, and it did okay, did well. I was like, oh, okay, this ain't bad. So I decided after each game I was going to do a breakdown, right? But then that became like, it would take me a long time to get those breakdowns out because I would have to edit it and do all of this stuff. So I was like, well, let me try to go live and see what that's about. So I was at like a conference or something somewhere, and I watched the game, and I sat down and went live. Had like 70 viewers. I was like, oh snap, like 70 people actually.
Yeah.
And it was just me in a room.
Yeah.
Speaking into my phone. You know what I mean? And I had a couple of notes, and I started talking about it. And then I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to do it like this. And so I started going live after every game instead of doing it pre-recorded. And then I said, well, how can I make it look as if it's pre-recorded? How can I give it that kind of professional type of feel? And then I started to do my research on OBS and open broadcast software, with different types of streaming services and stuff like that. Figured out how to use them, figured out how to get the graphics in there, and slowly but surely started to, build it. I already had a studio of, with musical equipment, stuff like that. You know what I mean? So the sound wasn't a problem. It was getting the visuals, but then slowly but surely I started to improve my sound, like for broadcast. For like production, but for broadcast, I started to improve it that way. And then, it just kept growing and building. You know what I mean? People started to subscribe and follow, and community was built. You know what I mean? So it really kind of grew organically. It wasn't like I sat down and said, "Oh, I could do that, and I can make it." It just grew organically. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's dope, man. And I gotta give you and guys like CP the franchise credit. Another Knicks content creator. I gotta give you guys credit because we're in this world where it's football, right? It's football during the season. When the NBA starts, people ain't thinking about October and November really until Christmas. But right. That's that guy right there. That guy don't care about no NBA until after the Super Bowl. Yeah. And it's gotten worse actually with him. But
it has gotten worse.
It's gotten worse with this guy.
Gotten worse, especially because the Wizards suck. So it has emphatically gotten worse.
So, but I give you guys credit because y'all do this from the start of the regular season, which is in October, which is football time, baseball playoffs and all that stuff, and y'all do this from beginning to end, as however far the team goes. So, salute to you guys, man, because, and even me, I've started to pay more attention to basketball as, the season starts because I want to see how, guys look, early on. So, salute to you, bro, because,
And, it doesn't stop because, to be honest with you, get more views in the off season than during the regular season. Like during the regular season, because there's, at the beginning of the season, it's always big, right?
Yeah.
It's the beginning of the season. And then it kind of, feathers off a little bit, as far as viewership because, there's so many basketball games. With football, it's once a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Basketball, every other night, your team is playing. You know what I mean? So people got other things to do. Besides jump on YouTube, you know what I mean? But then trade deadline, it picks up real heavy.
Yeah.
And then it fades down a little bit. Now playoffs, it picks up heavy again. And then in the off season, when everyone, there's trade rumors and all of this kind of stuff going on, then it really picks up heavy. The draft, all of that, it picks up heavy during that time. There is a period during the summer, after the draft, after the Las Vegas Summer League, when it's kind of a dead period, then when training camp comes back, things pick up again.
Yeah, I would imagine that having like more headline based content is a little more easier to get people to come when you could put a headline. Julius Randle might go to somewhere as opposed to talking about the Knicks versus the Grizzlies last night. Even and if it's just a regular game where nobody scores 50 or something like that, it's a little, So
goes under the radar.
Yeah.
So you got to find content during that time, and sometimes it's difficult because right now, like you probably know, Trey, there's a lot of Knicks creators, content creators now. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
A lot of not content creators. So you're hearing the same information over and over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
I tell you one thing, Trey does a damn good job at finding Knicks people. I don't know if it's biased or not. I'm just gonna say, he ain't never found no Wizards. He ain't never found no Wizards people.
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough.
I'm just joking.
But hey, Sim, I got to go back for a second here because you mentioned your transition from New York to Maryland. So I share that same storyline. So I was born in Queens, raised in Brooklyn, followed the Knicks since 93. I'd say I was about 10 years old, going back to the Ewing days. And, those were some great Knicks teams to watch. They made the playoffs like 14 straight, seasons before everything just kind of, went south for the team. So just like you, I transitioned to Maryland in 2001 for college and then just kind of ended up being here. And like you, I'm looking to talk basketball with people around the area. and all people want to talk about is Redskins. People want to talk about Ravens. They want to talk football. It's a football area. So, and that's how I started following the Ravens. As I started to stay here, up until this point. Tell me about your transition from New York to Maryland and how that came about.
It was different. It was definitely different at the time. So I'm originally from I bounced around upstate New York from just different places. I'm originally from Catskill, New York, outside of a little bit outside of Albany, New York, where Tyson, Mike Tyson and all that, right?
Yeah.
And I'm originally from there, born there, grew up in Utica, New York. It's a little farther, west. Small city, half the size of Baltimore or something like that.
Yeah.
Utica is. And well, I was at the time, I don't have 20 whatever. I bounced around and finally, settled back down Albany area. And I was in college. I was DJing. Right? Heavy in the music.
What was your DJ name? What was your name?
DJ Spesh.
Okay.
Okay, that ain't crazy. Shout out 38 Spesh.
All right.
That ain't crazy.
All right.
I got that name because when I was little, I used to break dance, and me and a buddy of mine, he was Mr. Lee. I was DJ Spesh. I was Special S.
Okay.
So I just adopted into DJ Spesh when I started DJing, and I was at this spot. This is what prompted me to leave. I was at this place DJing, and a dude that I knew for a while came to the booth, and we was talking a little bit, and finished the night, went home, and it was cool. The next day, the dude, my partner, called me up. He was like, "Yo, did the feds come to your house?" I was like,
"Oh snap!"
Yeah, I'm like, "For what?" And he said, "Well, the dude's name was Tommy." He's like, "Well, Tommy got shot last night."
Sheesh.
And you was one of the last people they seen him talking to, because after he talked to me, he left. Right? And come to find out, he had some stuff going on with some people, got shot in the back, and he didn't die. They tried to finish him off, but he was able to crawl to somebody's house, and then when he went to the hospital, but it was someone who closely related to me that right. And was already contemplating leaving, and at that point I was like, stuff is crazy. It's too crazy, and it's getting too close to home.
It's too hot.
You know what I'm saying? Let me just go. Let me do something new, because at that time I had been to New Jersey and Massachusetts. That's it. That's the only other states I had ever been to up until around this time. I think before I moved to Maryland, I went to DC with a friend to Howard University. Their brother was having like a something going on at Howard. So that was the first time I came down here.
Yeah.
First time I ever left though, like Massachusetts, New York, and Jersey. So that's the only places that I've ever been. And I was like, let me just try something new. Because there's a whole long story on how and why I was bouncing around New York State. I won't even go into that.
Okay.
I'm saying, so I was like, you know what? I'm packed up, boom, and left. I was planning to go to school at Towson. I thought about it. I ended up going to the University of Baltimore because I lived in Baltimore for a little bit.
Okay. All right.
Yep. And I ended up finishing at SUNY Empire State College.
Okay.
Right? They had online at the time, so I could finish it.
Okay.
Where you at in Charles County?
I'm in Waldorf.
Oh yeah, okay.
Shout out to Waldorf. We all have a tie to Charles County. We all have a tie to that. Yeah. When I first moved, I stayed outside of La Plata, so I know what that area is like.
Yeah, so you're right. Yeah, I'm you like 30 minutes away from me, but my pops live out there. My uncle, I got a rack of folks live out there. So
yeah. But Maryland was different for me. You know what I mean? I moved to Baltimore now. I'm DJing basically hip hop, R&B, and dancehall.
Yeah.
right? Like that's what I'm doing. But I get to Baltimore, and the music scene is totally different.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All club music.
Way different.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I'm saying way different. So I go out to a club, and it's like they playing, this Baltimore bounce club music all night. Then they play 20 minutes of hip hop, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know, I don't know if I fit in doing deep
Right.
here. So
Yeah.
I focus more on just other music production and creation and stuff like that. At that point, and even then when I moved closer to because I first moved from Baltimore to Suitland.
Okay, that's where I'm at.
That's where we at now. Yeah, but
Shout out.
Where I'm at. That's
Shout
where I'm
out
at.
Suitland.
okay. Where I was living is totally different now. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I was living on Heron Avenue.
I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about.
That whole area is. I was riding today. I was like, it's nothing like what when I was living here.
Mad different now. Yeah.
Mad different. Crazy different.
Yeah.
And then me and my wife, ended up moving to Waldorf, and here I am. But it was different. Everything was different. Like I said, I hadn't been out of the Northeast like that, so I'm here. I'm in Baltimore, and I'm thinking I'm in a warm weather state or something. You know what I'm saying? I was like, and the first time it got cold, I was like, yo, what's going on? Why is it cold? But I grew to like it here though.
Yeah, it's. I would imagine. I haven't been in New York a lot. I've been in New York a few times, but it's definitely slower there. Slower here in Maryland than New York. I mean, it picks up a little bit as you get close to Suitland. And I'm right where Suitland and DC kind of intersect. And I've been there, and I'm from DC, so what I'm saying. One thing I did notice is a lot of people in the street just walking around in New York, and I ain't really used to it. I was not used to it.
Yeah, I mean, upstate New York is a little bit more like here.
Okay.
When
it's slower. It's slower upstate New York.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's slower.
Because I've been we went to, what was that, Buffalo, when y'all did the wedding party engagement party?
No, we were in Long Island actually. So
Long Island, okay.
Yes,
so
but that part of Long Island is still kind of busy. You know what I mean? Because it's still like right outside of Queens, like a 10-minute drive outside of Queens. So everything that's like outside the 5 boroughs, like if you go north of the Bronx, like Yonkers, Mount Vernon, New Rochelle, like all that's still busy. And then you get a little bit further north, that's where it starts to kind of, get a little quieter. Same thing with Long Island. You go out Long Island about, 25, 30 minutes outside of Queens, it starts to get a little bit slower.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, don't quote me, because I don't know geography in New York well at all. I know I've been to Bronx, Eatonwall, Soundview. I know I've been over there. I know I've been in Brooklyn. I know I've been in.
I took you to my pop's crib in the Bronx.
Right.
That one time.
I don't know if it was quite Manhattan where I was, but it was a little busier than that, a little more busier than I like. But but that is definitely too busy for me.
Yeah. Upstate, and that was the thing that was funny to me. When I was in Baltimore, and people say, "Oh, he's from New York." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm from Albany." Oh, it's all the same to me. I'm like, "No, it's not."
It's not the same. Right. It's not the same.
There's a heavy influence, but it's not the same.
Nah.
It's not the same.
Definitely, definitely not the same. Sim, I want to congratulate you and your girls, Southern Maryland Christian Academy, 2023 state champions. Is that correct?
Okay.
Yeah. Conference and state champions. Yeah.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
It was. I appreciate it. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. It was work.
Yeah. Shout out my man Dougie. My man Dougie, what I went to school with, I think he coached for. I want to say he coached for High Point out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but y'all probably don't see them though.
High Point. Nah, we never played High Point.
Okay.
I've seen them like listed places, but
right. Yeah, I didn't think y'all saw them. Yeah,
but I tell you, I can imagine what it's like, the work it takes to win a championship in the NBA or the WNBA.
Mm-hmm.
The work that it took for us to win these 2 championships was unbelievable. Because we weren't a team that had we didn't have super talent, right?
Yeah.
We had some athletes, but we didn't have super talent.
Yeah.
I took over this team last year as the head coach. I had been the assistant coach for a few years because my daughter played there, and I was the assistant coach. When I took over, it was right after the pandemic, and we didn't even know if we were going to be able to field the team. So we just volleyball players, soccer players. If you can run and jump,
Right.
go.
Right.
And
Right.
we brought them in and went to work. And what we found out is that those soccer players could really play defense. I mean, because they're used to getting up and down the field, they could really play defense.
Yeah.
And we had two girls on the team that they played soccer and volleyball, and we really worked with them a lot. They came in throughout the summer and was just working and working and working and working on their game. And we got a girl that came from another school who their varsity had their high school program closed down. So she came in. She hadn't really been coached much either. She played basketball before, but not really coached much. So that first year, everything was just all hustle, all hustle, right? We won a couple of games, but it was all hustle.
Yeah.
And one of the girls that I had coached since she was in the 8th grade, she didn't play last year, right? She was a senior this year, so she played this year. Good shooter, really high basketball IQ. Decent enough ball handler and a leader, right? And then we had a little 8th grader come in to our program who's really good. She's got a lot of talent, and we said, all right, well, we're going to try to see what we can do here. We had another girl who was in the 8th grade last year, not this year that passed, but last year. She's a freshman this year. She was a decent enough ball handler. Her sister was 5'11", so she's a rebounder for us. Let's see, can we put these pieces together? And we started off the season. It was rough. I mean, we always put the work in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Started off the season like 2-5. But we felt like we had some pieces, right? Felt like we had some pieces, and throughout the season, what we continue to do is not focus just on the wins and losses, but really focus on the lessons that the girls were learning,
Right.
obstacles that we came across, and how do we get over those obstacles in the next time we see it. So we continuously focused on the lessons we were learning, focused on the fundamentals of the game, focused on studying the game. So we watched a lot of film for each game. I would do a scouting report for each game, right? Based on video that I seen. 4-page scouting report. So we'd go in like the day before the game, because you don't have that much time. You get like a day before your next game. You play a game, then you get a day of practice, maybe 2 days of practice, and then you play again. But we'd go in, watch a little bit of film, read the scouting report, talk about our game plan, and then get on the court and execute the game plan, right? Practice the game plan. And we got to the new year, and we were, below 500. I think something that really helped us out, we amped it up even more, because we knew that when in January we had game after game after game after game after game.
Yeah.
And we in the beginning of the season, we played some teams that were really good. And then we had a bunch of conference games in January, plus we had scrimmages against some really high level competition. So we broke out the schedule and said, okay, we have full practice on this day. This day is film study to prepare for the game. This day is a rest day. And we just had everything laid out. And then we started to ramp up the film study even more, where we had small video breakdowns of maybe each player, not each player, but primary players on the team, or little areas that we felt like we could exploit.
Yeah.
Right. And we get to the new year, we win a game, then we lose against this team called Tacoma Academy, right, who's pretty good. And then from there, we go on a 6-game win streak, right? And our confidence, or a 5-game win streak, our confidence is high. We beat one of our conference rivals in a tough game, right? And then we played Tacoma again, and we lose to them, right? This right here was really, I think, a turning point for us because we lost to them because the girls were a little bit scared, right? It was too big for them,
Yeah.
and we were going to Tacoma. Their crowd is crazy. The moment was big, and there was some implications because if we won that game, we could fight for first place. We would be there with Tacoma for first place. So the moment was a little bit big, and even during the game, halftime, we were only down 3. And I got on them just about, hey, you got to wake up. You got to get into the game. We came out in half. I don't think I think talk made it worse. Went out in the second half and got blown out in the second half. So so afterwards, when we came back to practice, we did a big talk about fear. How do you address fear? How do you encounter fear? About handling pressure. We watched some videos from Kobe, and Kobe talked about when he hurt his Achilles and coming back from it was like looking at Mount Everest and from the beginning saying, I got to climb this entire mountain. You know what I mean? And how that can be overwhelming, but you take it step by step. Right. And so that's what we said. We said, listen, we're going to take the rest of the season step by step. We're not going to look at anything past the next practice. Right. And that's what we did.
Yeah.
And each time, we would always go back and we would talk about lessons that we learned in previous games, how we can apply them if they come up in the next game, and we won out the rest of the season.
Wow.
Tough games we played against a conference team. We had to beat them to get home court advantage in the playoffs. We beat them in a tough game. We lost another one of our guards. We're down. Like we had lost the guard against Tacoma the first time. And then now against KCA, King Christian Academy, we lost another one of our guards to a concussion. Right. So we had to play them again in the playoffs, Kings. And they knew now that we were down these guards. So when we played them again, they tried to do a triangle and 2. Right. But we were prepared. We knew that they were going to do it. We were prepared for it. And, our first 2 games against Kings, we beat them by 2 points. Or we beat them by 5 points. Then we beat them by 3 points. So they were tough, close games. And through 2 games, we had only scored 2 points in the third quarter through 2 games against this team. Right. For some reason, we were struggling in the third quarter. When we played them in the playoffs, we were actually down at half, and we were like, can't have a bad third quarter, because we'll be done.
Yeah. We
went out. We had a great third quarter, ended up having a 5-point lead going into the fourth quarter. Now, we only got 6 players. We actually have a 7th, but she's an 8th grader we brought up for insurance policy. We get to the fourth quarter. We have 2 girls foul out. So now we're down to 4 players. We got to bring in this 8th grader for the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter. We bring her in, and she does just enough rebounding and defense to help us win that game. And then we advance on to the championship. We played Tacoma Academy again. We had a couple of games. We broke down film, looked at areas that we could exploit, and the girls went out and executed the game plan perfectly. And we beat them in the conference championship. Nobody had us beaten, and we beat them in the conference championship. Our confidence was high. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Confidence was way up here. We had a week off before the state championship started. The first game, I felt like the girls were riding a little bit too high. I mean, so when we were breaking down film and doing the scouting report, I was like, I got to do something. They feel too good. I got to do something to create some adversity, right? So I hit them with a quiz, right? And they were like, a quiz? A quiz?
Yeah.
And so I hit them with a quiz on the whole scouting report, and if you didn't get it right, you had to do some running and whatever else. Hopefully it helped. I mean, it seems like it.
You won. I would say it helped.
Yeah, I think it kept them focused.
Yeah.
We beat the first team in the state championship by 18. Then we went and we did a scouting report against the next team. They had this girl. She was 5'11", and she could knock down threes from anywhere. The whole offense was surrounded by her. All they did is set screens for her.
Yeah.
Screen. So our entire defense was set up to fight over screens, and
Right.
switch onto her. Right. So the first half, I mean, we went up 23-2 in the first half. She only had 1 point in the first half.
Oh, snap.
We were up, I think, 18 or 19 at half, but they came back. They came back and took a lead in the fourth quarter. And we had to battle through it. We battled through it. We were down 3 points or something, like 2 points. One of our girls got an offensive rebound, put it back the last minute and 40 seconds. Offensive rebound, put it back. We get a rebound. My senior throws it up to the 8th grader. She knocks down a 3. Then the 8th grader gets fouled, knocks down 2 free throws. We win that by 5. We get to the state championship, and so the girls, for the game, we were talking and we said, everything that we've learned throughout the season, we got to apply it right here. This is the last game of the season. No matter what happens, it's the last game. We got to apply it all now.
Mm-hmm.
We went out there and we got down 18-2. Right. So the first game we actually went up 23-2, not 18-2. In the championship game, we get down 18-2. Right. In the first quarter. But the girls didn't stop. They kept fighting. They kept battling.
I was just about to say, what was your quiz then?
I mean, at that point, we had to throw out everything that we game planned for, because everything that we game planned for, like they were a team that didn't shoot threes.
Yeah.
It's like 5 games in them, and throughout 5 games, they took 2 threes. Right? They didn't shoot threes. They came out making threes.
Yeah.
They weren't a team that really tried to push the ball. They were pushing the ball. So everything that we game planned for, they did opposite, and they were knocking down all of their shots. So we had to switch it. And he made 2 critical mistakes. He tried to ice the game in the second quarter. He was like, they were up 12. He said spread, and he spread it out. And I was like, okay, there's no shot clock. He tried to spread it out. So we went man, and then we went full court man, and we figured out, they can't handle our full court man-to-man pressure. So we cut the game. By halftime, it was a 10-point lead. By the end of the third quarter, it was an 8-point lead. And then in the fourth quarter, little 8th grader, she scored 14 in the fourth quarter and took the game over.
Wow.
Really did apply everything, just everything that we worked on from the beginning of the season. Our first game, we had 41 turnovers. Lost by 41 turnovers. I mean, in our last game, we had 12. In the championship game, even though we were losing most of the game, we had 12. I mean, everything that we needed from the season, everything that we learned, we were able to apply in the last game and win the state championship. So
that's what's up.
Man,
that's what's up, man.
You are truly a basketball coach, bruh, because everything you just broke down right there, from scouting reports to just kind of taking it one team at a time, to the quiz tactics, in the middle of games and stuff, like that's almost equivalent to how the pros, start their season and then they end up, at the end.
Yeah, it's like that, man. I mean, we had to do, when we talked about, fear and anxiety, before the next game, we did a breathing exercise before the game. And then a couple of times during games, in timeouts, we called timeouts just so we could bring everyone together and breathe.
Yeah.
Like, it takes learning your team and understanding your team. And if you actually learn your team and see what makes them tick, see what triggers certain reactions from them, and then you can learn little things that you can do.
Right.
It's hard, and it took so much energy. The energy that it took to get through and win the championship was amazing. It was just crazy. And so I can't imagine a 7-game series like that.
Yeah, for sure.
4 times to win the NBA championship. It is hard.
For sure. And now your New York Knicks are going to have the opportunity, obviously, to play 7 games 4 times. What's the reality that they're actually going to get to play 4 rounds, in your opinion?
You know what? The reality is probably low. I'll say that. Right? I can see him getting past the second round. I mean, I'm sorry. I can see them getting past the first round. And I'm not saying they will. Cleveland's a tough team, but I think I think they can beat Cleveland. It can go either way. Milwaukee, who they would likely see in the second round.
Yeah.
That's Milwaukee. That's the Bucks. That's tough. But I'm gonna say
Yeah.
this about this team, this Knicks team. They've been very resilient all season long, and all season they've been able to figure things out. They really have. You know what I mean? If you from December 1st until now, they've been the sixth best team in the league, wise,
Yeah.
and their record is not far behind Milwaukee or Philadelphia or Boston. You know,
Yeah.
that time. You know what I mean? So this team has been able to figure it out. You know, so I'm not making any predictions that they're gonna go to the Eastern Conference Finals or anything like that. But you know, if they figured some stuff out, I wouldn't be surprised because they've been able to figure it out. And the thing I really like about this Knicks team, they can play any style of basketball. Like, they can play up tempo, score a lot of points. They can slow it down and grind it out if they need to. They can play a lot of different styles of basketball. I just want them to play defense because they haven't really played defense that well over the last 15, 20 games.
Lately, like the last month, they've been kind of staggering on the defensive side of the ball. Let me give a quick shout out to my boy Carlton Henry in the YouTube live chat. He says, "Was good, fam." He says, "Cavs." Yeah. He says, "Cavs in 6. Mitchell is on a mission." So I'll pose the question to you, Sim. Are you of this narrative that if the Knicks don't beat the Cavs in this series, that the season is a total failure because of the Donovan Mitchell, I guess, angle? And I know you've heard a lot of stuff from Stephen A, which gets tiring after a certain point. Where are you at with it? Like, is it a failure if we don't beat Cleveland?
Nah, I don't think so. I don't think so because when you look at the group that the Knicks have, they're young and they're deep. I'm saying young. I mean, the Knicks just played Cleveland without Julius Randle, and they beat them. They beat them good, you know. And Darius Garland, Jared Allen wasn't there, but but the Knicks beat them. So I'm not of that mindset at all. As a matter of fact, if the Knicks don't pick up a star player or anything like that over the summer, I am perfectly fine with bringing this group back and seeing how good
they could be.
You know, how good can this team become? Because Emmanuel quickly is turning into a real NBA pro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Quentin Grimes has proven that he can be a really good player in this league. We're hoping that RJ Barrett, RJ Barrett's been up and down, but still gives you 18 and 19 a game and 5 or 6 rebounds. You know what I mean? So, like, this team is young and they have talent and they can grow together. People keep saying that the Knicks need a star, and they probably will need a star to get over the top.
Yep.
But who's to say that Jalen Brunson doesn't continue to play like he's playing and be a star, or that Julius Randle's not going to get even better, as he slows his game down and figures some things out, or that Emmanuel quickly isn't going to become a star player too. You know what I mean? Or somebody like that. There's a lot. I think there's a lot that this team has, a lot of depth that this team has. And
so, not to cut you, I'm sorry to cut you off. You spoke about Brunson, and you spoke about Randall, and you spoke about your third guy. I forget the guy you said.
RJ.
No, he didn't say RJ. I thought it was important that he didn't say RJ because RJ was a number 3 guy. You said quickly is who you said. Number 3 in the when he was drafted, and we had high hopes, or at least Knicks fans had high hopes for him. Do you look at Barrett as more of a secondary option now?
Right now, I feel like Emmanuel quickly's surpassed RJ Barrett.
Yeah.
I feel like it's you got Randall and Brunson, and then Emmanuel quickly as the third best player on his team right now. He does it defensively. He can score. He can get to the basket. He can shoot the 3. He has a little runner, and he's got a mindset. He's a fearless mindset. You know what I mean? Even Randall during the time with the Knicks second guessed himself. I see RJ second guessing himself a lot, but not quickly. Quickly, doesn't care.
He gonna shoot it. He gonna shoot it.
He's gonna shoot it.
Yeah.
He doesn't second guess himself. And now he's learning when to shoot, and not just shoot crazy wild shots like he was when he first came in. He's learning when to shoot the ball, where to find, his shots. You know what I mean? He's a candidate for Sixth Man of the Year.
Yeah. Facts.
He's really coming on. You know what I mean? And I think if the Knicks would have traded for Donovan Mitchell, one, RJ likely would have been in the trade.
Yeah.
Quentin Grimes would have been in the trade. Who else? Who knows who else would have been in that trade?
Obi maybe, or
Obi.
Emmanuel quickly, one of those two.
Right.
And the picks, I think that's the important part of why they decided to not do it, was because the compensation was too much for Leon Rose. So you're talking 6 picks plus 3 players that would deplete our bench for Donovan Mitchell. And yeah, Donovan Mitchell is that dude. I'm not trying to, poo-poo Donovan Mitchell here, but I mean, that's a lot. And then when you look at the deal that Cleveland made, it's like, wait, the price was different for Cleveland than it was for us? Like,
exactly.
Like, come on.
Yeah, Danny Ainge was, he was mad at Leon Rose and them guys for sitting courtside and all that kind of stuff.
I gotta ask you a question about that, Sim. What the hell is wrong with that? What the hell is wrong with guys that want to get tickets to a playoff game and watch some basketball? Right. Like what's the problem there?
I mean, they're allowed to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's right. They're allowed to do it. I mean, obviously, they sat courtside together so that Brunson and Donovan Mitchell could see in, because the Knicks seemed like that they wanted both of those guys.
Right.
Brunson and Donovan Mitchell. So obviously they sat courtside so that they could see him, but nobody's stopping you from doing it. I mean, your owner, I'm pretty sure they knew that
yeah. He sits right there. He sits at every game, every Dallas game. He sits in that same spot where they were sitting at. And so you couldn't tell me that they just walked by him and he didn't say nothing. He was cool with that. So
exactly. I mean, from the Jazz and from Dallas, they all knew. They had to have known that these guys were coming to the game.
Yeah.
You don't get those seats without knowing that.
Right.
They knew they were coming to the game.
And the Knicks got fined. The Knicks got fined. They paid the penalty. Right. Okay, so what? Move on. You got your guy. Let's go.
I'm encouraged by this team, because I look at the Knicks were like 10-13 to start the season in November, right?
Yeah.
If they would have started the season 13-10, they'd be a 50-win team right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You look at, it took them a little bit of time to figure out what their roster was going to be like, cut the roster down, so they could start next season. When they start next season, they know what they're doing when they go in. They're not figuring that part of it out.
Yeah.
But they could come in and be even better. So, I'm not mad at all. And Jalen Brunson's had his way against Donovan Mitchell in the playoffs before.
Yeah.
Not saying it's going to now, but Jalen Brunson's been a surprise to everybody. And that he is, man.
Maybe improved player of the year, maybe.
Yeah, I think he could be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a possibility for certain. So yeah, I agree with you, Sim, that I'm not of the narrative that the season's a failure. I think right now, the season is a success as long as they don't get swept. And I didn't care who we played. If it was Boston, Philly, Cleveland, whoever, I just didn't want to get swept by any one of those teams, regardless. So I think this series is a 7-game series. I think we fall a little bit short. But if we win, then, all's well on this side. So,
and, a lot of people talk about Tom Thibodeau. Some people are mad at him, as far as him being a coach and all of that. Now is when you really figure out if he can coach.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Saying the playoffs, people talk about adjustments all the time, and he doesn't make in-game adjustments. In-game adjustments are really, really hard, because when you're watching the game from a player or coach's standpoint, it's hard to really know and see what's happening out there.
Yeah, it's hard to go. It's hard to do the bird's eye view when you're right there in it. Yeah, I get it.
Right?
Yeah,
And it's moving too fast, so it's very hard after the game, and you watch it on video or whatever. The game looks so much slower on video than when you're actually in it.
yeah,
You know, what I'm saying? It looks so much slower, but now you can see what's happening, and you know what they did, and then now you can make adjustments, you know, to execute for the next game. So now is when you really see Tom Thibodeau coaching. I think when the Knicks played Atlanta a few years ago, the Knicks really didn't have the horses.
yeah,
Yeah.
You know, they had Alfred Payton at point guard who couldn't make a shot.
yeah.
You know what I mean? They just didn't have the horses out there. Now they got some people. You know what I mean? And we'll see how well Tom Thibodeau can really coach these guys.
Yeah.
It's time to go playing the same team for a 7-game series.
So I do have a hot take though. So I think if Julius Randle has another bad postseason series like he did against the Hawks a couple of years ago, I think he ends up getting traded in the offseason, which will bump up Obi Toppin in his spot to finally, you know, get some of those minutes that we've been kind of, you know, crying about for almost a year and a half now. And, you know, with his injury, now we're finally seeing what Obi can do playing 30 minutes a night. You know what I mean?
Yeah. My only thing with Obi and playing the 30 minutes a night, you know, so far over 2 seasons, each time he's played 30 minutes a night, it's been like towards the tail end of the season when teams aren't really playing high level basketball.
That's true.
You know, gotta see him do it like in the middle of the season when teams are playing high level basketball. Obi is the talent that he has is ridiculous. I think he's the best finisher on the team. He has such a beautiful touch around the rim. You know what I mean? Obviously, he can get up in the air. He can bang it on you. He can shoot the three. I'd like to see him get more rebounds, and obviously, you know, got to play a little bit better on the defensive side of the ball. I'll tell you what, if Obi can get his defense together,
It's gonna be a problem.
if he gets his defense together, you know what I mean? I could see him staying on the Knicks and RJ continuing to move down the ladder, right? And if Tom Thibodeau ever figures out how to get Obi to be able to play defense, like at least he doesn't have to be a superstar defender, just average defender.
Yeah.
And have him and Randall playing the 3 and the 4, like that makes the lineup faster because RJ is kind of slow.
Yeah. Yep.
That high. It's not really athletic. His jump shot isn't good.
Yeah.
You know, and I like RJ, but right now this is where he is.
Yeah.
He, you know, would add something different to that lineup and they would be longer.
Yeah.
I don't know if Obi will ever play good enough defense to do that, but if they did, you know, that could be a way that he stays on this team and is able to get those 30 minutes a game. If he's playing defense and you can play Randall and Obi at the same time at the 3 and the 4 or the 4 and the 5.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Now with Randall, you know, it's hard to say. I want to say that he won't have that kind of performance again because Brunson is here.
Yeah.
Right? But Randall's in his own head. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like he think he the dude. Yeah.
Yeah, he gets in his own head. You know, obviously, you see the anger stuff, the emotional stuff, where he gets mad and does things. You know, and like all of last year, he was second guessing his shot. He wasn't sure. Like that series against Atlanta really got in his head because teams started to play the kind of defense Atlanta was playing. And Randall wasn't sure what to do. When to shoot the ball? Should I be shooting threes? Should I be shooting the mid range? Should I go to the basket?
Yeah.
He wasn't sure. You know, this year he's played a lot more sure of himself. Felt like he was unraveling a little bit at the end of the season. So, you know, the injury, you know, I don't want to say it was timely, but mentally he probably needed a break.
Yeah.
You know,
played every game, right? Played every game up to that point. Yeah.
To that point, he played every game. So if he can get into the playoffs, if I'm Randall, when I get into the playoffs, I'm going to start off and let Brunson do his thing so that it's not on me. let Brunson do his thing, and then ease myself into it, especially after being off for so many weeks. If
Yeah.
he's gonna play, I guess we'll find out. Soon whether or not he's gonna play.
For sure. Hey Sam, man. Last question.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna warn you now, man. We do this every week with guests,
All right.
and it seems like every time we release it on social media, either me or Trey gotta get a phone call or some bad
DM or text
messaging or
message. Yeah.
something where, hey, bro, what the fuck is this dude talking about? He don't know nothing about sports. This, that, and the third. So I'm gonna ask you, no pressure, because it's your list, and this is what I always say to these people. That's that man or woman's list. If you got an issue with that man or that woman,
Hit them up.
hit them
Hit
up.
them up. That's right.
So I'm gonna ask you two things. One, I'm gonna ask for your Twitter handle, and two, I'm gonna ask you for your top 5 Knicks of all time.
Phew, okay. Twitter handle at nothing but Knicks. All my handles for any Instagram, any social media at nothing but Knicks. No G. It's NOTHINBUT Knicks.
Absolutely.
My top 5 Knicks players of all time. Woo, it's a tough one. Walt Clyde Frazier,
Yes, sir.
Patrick Ewing,
Mhm.
Yep.
can't think of his name right now. Willis Reed.
Willis
Okay.
Reed.
Okay.
All right, Willis Reed.
He ain't see me, but I'm pointing to the
I
wall
know.
here.
And to be honest, I gotta go with Melo. That's one of my favorite players.
Right.
I
Yeah.
gotta go with Melo. Did I say Patrick Ewing already?
You did.
You
You
said
said
Patrick
Ewing
Ewing.
already. Yeah.
Okay, I did say Patrick Ewing, right?
So you got one more.
I'm going with Melo. And then, man, it's a lot of guys. Earl Pearl Monroe.
Oh, okay. So just Walt Frazier. I'm sorry. Walt Frazier.
I don't know if I'm in order, but
No, yeah, that's cool.
It don't got to be in
Cool.
order.
No.
It's good.
Make sure I got Walt Frazier, Patrick Ewing, Earl Monroe,
Mellow.
Willis Reed.
Melo.
I'm not, hold on. Is that 6?
Look, I said Walt Clyde Frazier,
Uh-huh.
right? Patrick Ewing,
Yep.
Willis Reed,
Willis Reed. Yep.
Melo, and then Earl the Pearl.
That was 5.
That's 5.
Okay.
That was
All right.
5.
That's 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not going to tell you if it's a good or bad list. I'm not going to say nothing.
Right.
But I just want everybody to know, and Trey, when you chop this up,
Yep.
make sure his social media handle is on there.
Go holler at this guy right over here.
Holler at
If you
this
got
guy.
beef, go
If you
holler
got
at
an
him.
If you got an issue, tell this man. You hear me? Specific person I'm talking to you. I don't want to hear nothing about that man list. That's that man list.
Yep.
So I'll tell you this. Randall is creeping up on these guys.
Really?
Yes.
I think from a number standpoint, he's creeping up
From a
on those
numbers
guys. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's creeping up on those guys from a
Yeah.
number standpoint. You know?
Okay. Look, I'm not a Knicks fan, so
he creeped up there. And is he, I don't know, top 10 in points scored now? Or maybe he's even higher. He's up there in
I
rebounds.
think he's top 10. He's definitely top 10 in points scored.
Yeah, and he might
wow.
be. And this is in 4 seasons. He's up there in rebounds already. He's up there in he had a chance to break the all-time 3-point shots made record this year. Evan Fournier broke it the year before. So he's creeping up on people. He'll have 2 all-star selections.
But would he ever really be in your top 5?
I don't know if he would ever be in my top 5. Now,
Yeah.
over those 5 that I just said, if he wins a championship, maybe he could bump Melo, even though that's my favorite, one of my favorite.
And those guys are Hall of Famers too. Like you mentioned, all Hall of Famers there. Julius Randle is far from that.
Far from that, at least right now. You know, you'll see it. We'll see if he continues to play like that, like he's playing now. You know, he's got, you know, possibly he'll get another All NBA selection. we'll see if he continues to play that. Melo played at a high level forever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he helped resurrect the Knicks in 2011. So yeah, you definitely got to give Melo his props for that. But nah, I like your list, Sim. For me personally, this guy right here, Oakley. I had to put up the picture of him getting thrown out the garden a few years ago. But that's my guy right there. If I had my top five, Oakley for me would be in my top five, and I would have to put Anthony Mason in my top five too, just because he was from the city and he played for the hometown team. That kind of means a little bit something to me as well.
John Starks, I'm sorry, John Starks to me, I'm not the biggest Knicks fan, but John Starks, I always like John Starks.
Yeah, love John Starks, loved him. For me, this guy, Melo, Oakley, Mason, Ewing, and I got to go with the guy Walt, man. Even though I'm too young to, have ever watched him play, but the suits, man, like.
Yeah. And I've went back and just watched like old games and stuff, just so I could see those guys play.
Yeah.
And know what they're, know what they are. It's crazy. The Knicks just haven't had that many like you look at the Lakers, they've had all kinds of superstars go through. The Knicks haven't had as many superstars come through. But I think this is one of the reasons why people like this team, though, because this team right here is like truly built, you know what I mean? And the Knicks with this team have created their own stars. Like Julius Randle didn't come to this team as an all-star.
Yeah.
An all-star while he was on this team. Jalen Brunson, he hasn't made an all-star team yet. He probably should
have. He should have.
Right? The last game, the Knicks started 5 players that were drafted by the Knicks. Right? Quickly, Quentin Grimes, R.J. Barrett, Obi Toppin, Mitchell Robinson. All 5 of those guys were on the Knicks. And then you got Miles McBride was drafted by the Knicks. Jericho Sims was drafted by the Knicks. Right? So this is a homegrown built team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, which makes it feel even that much better. And then you got guys like Obi that was born in New York. You have RJ who's got ties to New York.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's and then for guys like me and you, Trey, Obi played at Mount Zion Prep in Maryland. Obviously, Quickly's from Maryland.
Yeah.
Made his way to New York. Ooh, there's somebody else that's from Maryland.
On the roster. I know who you man. I know who you're talking about too, but I'm just not sure.
I knew Quickly was. But
I'm just not sure who the guy is. Is Josh Hart from Maryland, Maestro, or you don't know?
Don't give me the line. I don't know that Josh Hart is from Maryland.
Okay,
I don't know that.
I wasn't thinking him though. I was thinking it was Jericho Sims for some reason.
I think he's from Minnesota.
Oh, okay. But to your point, you got a lot of homegrown talent on this team that's from New York, and then you got some from Maryland as well. So
yeah. So Josh Hart from Silver Spring.
Silver Spring. Okay.
Oh, really? Didn't know that.
Okay. That's what's up. Hey Sim, I want to thank you so much, man, for giving us your time, because I know you be doing all the content creating for the Knicks and your platform, and just from me personally, I appreciate the pregame, the postgame stuff, with you and Tony and Josh and Steph and then the whole crew and the whole chat and everything. Thank you for allowing fans to purchase tickets to Game 4 at the Garden. And just to let you know, I made my purchase, so I will be at Game 4. And I'll be looking forward to meeting you and the crew, and hopefully that's a closeout game for us to win the series. that'd be something special.
Don't count on it.
And I appreciate you buying the ticket, and I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And since everybody's close, I just put up this podcast studio here in Waldorf. Me and a buddy of mine. I would love to have you guys come in and we do some content from there.
Absolutely.
Okay. Absolutely. No doubt. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Appreciate the invite. Let everybody know where they can find you at on social media and all your platforms?
Yeah, anything Twitter, Instagram, Facebook is just at Nothing But Knicks. All right, again, that's spelled NOTHINBUTKNICKS. All right, just leave that G out. Right, same thing as Nothing But Knicks, just leave the G out. YouTube.com/Nothing But Knicks. My website, nbkfam.com. So, but everything for the most part is at Nothing But Knicks.
Absolutely. My G, we appreciate you, man. And like we always say, we'll see you on social media. But since you're close, we'll see you in the streets, man. Be safe out here.
No doubt about it. I appreciate you all, man.
Yes.
All right, salute.
All right, man.
Salute.
Appreciate you. The homie Sim Russell right there, folks. Make sure y'all check out his YouTube channel, Nothing But Knicks. The website, nbkfam.com. For all you Knicks fans out there that's looking for some great Knicks content, that's one of the dudes right there that, that's my go-to guy right there. So yeah, man, that was dope. That was a dope conversation to have with him. And the fact that he's local too, that's always a plus for us here on the podcast here. I was checking the score and it looks like the Hawks beat the Heat. Surprisingly.
No surprise. I don't know if that was a surprise.
Really?
Man.
Wow. Okay. I know. I know we've been down on the Heat,
right?
Well,
Trey Young played, right?
Yeah, but Jimmy Butler's on the other side of that with Bam and Eric Spoelstra. Like, these guys are veterans.
Yeah,
like, I'm surprised. I have to say, I'm surprised at that.
I'm not surprised. I guess when you put it like that, sure. But
yeah, and that's on your home floor too, if you're the Heat too. You know what I mean?
But these situations, I'm sorry, those types of situations, those are Trey Young situations, man. And you of all people know that those are Trey Young situations. He did that to get in the playoffs last year.
Yes, that is true. That's true. I would say too, Jimmy Butler has got those situations in him as well. That's kind of why I'm surprised. And even before we got on, they were down by like 15 points. Like this was like the Heat were. Yeah, this was like early in the second quarter, and so I'm like, okay, maybe the Heat start to pick it up a little bit. Maybe the Hawks will, kind of give it their all, and then the Heat will just, come bum rush them. But this looked like this was total domination by the Hawks, it looks like. So there you have that. So I guess the Hawks will play Boston in the first round of the playoffs, and I guess we can go ahead and say that. What do you think? What do you think? A sweep? That's a sweep.
Is this a good? You're about to say, is this a good sweeping motion?
It's a sweep.
Yeah.
Okay.
A sweep.
You know what? I'll give Trey Young one. I think Trey could get him one. But yeah, I'm with you. It's a quick series, nonetheless. There.
Yeah.
What you think about and quickly, because I know we got to get up on out of here, but the Timberwolves and the Lakers, they got a play-in game happening right now. I think you and I agree this is the Lakers' game to win to get the 7th spot to go ahead and play Memphis. Which I think Memphis is going to be in trouble if it's the Lakers that.
It's certainly going to be a fun series.
Yeah. It'll definitely be a fun series for that. In regard to Minnesota, and if they lose, they would get a second shot at making the final 8. But we had an incident on Sunday with Rudy Gobert punching Kyle Anderson, which really, he didn't land the punch. He just kind of threw it.
But he still shouldn't have thrown it.
Yeah, I agree. He shouldn't have thrown it. Got his ass suspended. What's the kid name? Jaden McDaniels. He gets frustrated. He punches a wall, fractures his hand, and now he can't play. Naz Reid. Oh, you didn't know that?
I didn't know that about McDaniels. No, I didn't.
Oh man, he pulled an Amari from years ago.
Jeez.
So he did that, and again, this was the final game of the season. So.
Right.
So you have no Jaden McDaniels tonight. You got no Rudy Gobert tonight, and you don't have Naz Reid, who I think got hurt like maybe 2-3 weeks ago, out for the season. So Timberwolves are kind of limping in here, shorthanded. But I do think they lose tonight. I think tomorrow's games, you got Pelicans and Thunder. I think the Pelicans come out of that one. And then on the east side, you got and I wanted to bring this up to you, and I know you're gonna laugh so hard at this, but the story that nobody's talking about, and I understand why, because it's irrelevant, and whoever comes out of this game is gonna get thumped by Milwaukee.
Absolutely.
But you got DeMar DeRozan going back to Toronto in a one game wins it all, the loser goes home situation. Everybody knows DeMar DeRozan, Raptor for a few years, was the sacrificial lamb in getting Kawhi Leonard to win that championship for Toronto. So now he goes back into this, his old stomping grounds. Interesting.
50.
I was going to say, I'm interested to see what you think. Who thinks going to come out on top? And again,
he's scoring 50 in a losing effort.
He's going 50 in a losing effort.
I'm just talking shit. I'm just talking shit. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't even know who's gonna win. I guess I'll say Chicago, but not really. I guess I'll say Toronto. So I take it back. So I'm going with it. If there was a FanDuel bet that I could make, I would put $5 on DeMar DeRozan scoring 45 and losing.
Okay. Yeah, I like Toronto. I just think Toronto is the more full, complete team right now. And I understand that the Bulls, and people talk about Lonzo Ball, which I don't know if you heard, but they're saying he might be out all of next season also. So that sucks for him, man. Something's.
I hope that's not the case.
Yeah, I hope it's not the case either, but it appears that there's maybe a setback with the rehab of the injury he suffered a year or two ago at this point. So but the Bulls don't have a point guard. Like, they don't have a distributor that can, get guys easy shots. Whereas I think Fred VanVleet will be able to do that with Toronto, and I think Toronto can play some defense on these guys. So give me Toronto. Give me Toronto.
Yeah.
So I guess it would be Toronto and the Heat. Give me the Heat. I don't know, bruh. Like I said, whoever comes out of this thing, they getting smoked. They getting smoked. So they getting smoked. So but the other series. So there's other series that are set. So I know we talked a little bit about Brooklyn and Philly. Where are you at with that one?
I think Philly gets out of it, but look, that's gonna be a tougher series than it should be, considering that Philly is supposed to be one of the better teams in the league with the MVP and all those things, or soon to be MVP, I would think.
Right.
But I give me Philly in 7.
Ooh, so you giving Brooklyn 3 games here? Okay. Because I tell you what, I think Mikal Bridges is going to ball the hell out in this series. They're gonna lose the series. But I think Mikal Bridges, like think about this. You go back to his draft night, and the Sixers picked him and then traded him the same minutes later on that same night. Mm-hmm. So now you're playing this team that drafted you, or so you thought, and he's a Philly kid too. He's from the area there too. So I think he's gonna ball out, but I'm surprised you went 7. I went Philly in 6 with this one, and like you, I do think that this series is going to be a tougher series than people I think are giving it credit for. I meant it's going to be a tougher series because Philly has a tendency to underachieve. Yeah, and I was just about to get to that. There's a lot of combustible parts to this basketball team. You got James Harden, you got the coach who somehow extends series longer than they needs to be, and then and we get he's gonna be the MVP, but Joel Embiid still kind of has something to prove a little bit here.
Yeah.
So, there's definitely some things to this team that make you think. On the other hand, they gonna underachieve in that resort. But yeah, give me Sixers and 6. Knicks and Cavs. I don't think I ever got your opinion on that.
Cavs and 6.
Cavs and 6. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Where my heart is at. Knicks and 7, but I think that game 7 in Cleveland, I think the best player in the series is going to find a way. But if we win that series, look, man, is orange and blue skies, as Stephen A would say, annoyingly. What about in the West? What do you got with Sacramento and Golden State?
Sacramento has had a great run, and great for them. I think experience is going to get Golden State out of it in 6.
Yeah, give me the Warriors. Give me the Warriors in. I don't want to disrespect the Kings. I agree with you. I was gonna say 5, but I don't want to. I don't want to disrespect the Kings like that. Trust me, I know what it's like to root for a team that, for years has been dreadful. The way the Kings were. So I'm not gonna disrespect the Kings like that. I like you. I'm thinking that experience is gonna play a part. Andrew Wiggins comes back. They're all going to get this chemistry flowing again. I think the Warriors win in 6. And then, so how many games are you giving the Clippers against Phoenix? Because I already know who you're going with here. So that's why I phrased it the way I did.
I give them one. I give them one game.
One game?
Give them one game.
One game? Wow.
I give them one game. I said what I said.
Wow. Well, part of me gets it. There's no PG-13. They're saying he's not going to start the series.
They having a little argument in Los Angeles themselves.
Bones Highland and Mason Plumlee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little argument themselves.
Little shove.
I know Tyronn Lue says that's good. They should fight every now and then, but I mean, did they right the ship? I know they won that game, but
they did win that game. They won that game.
Did they right the ship? I don't know how many times they're gonna fight each other to get out this series. Once.
One.
Yeah.
You know what? Nah, I'm not doing it like that. I do think Phoenix wins the series though. But I think, I think this goes the distance. I think it goes 7. I'm not gonna disrespect
Paul
Kawhi
George
Leonard.
Is going to be gone. Kawhi Leonard.
I'm not disrespecting Kawhi Leonard like that.
He deserves respect, and
he does.
Oh, all right.
He deserves respect. It's been a while. I get it. It's been a while. He's been hurt. He's been taking time off, load management, and all that stuff. But it appears that as of lately, he's been getting it done. He's been balling. He's been putting his team on his back. If he can find a way to extend this series, I think we do see Paul George come back. Maybe game 4. I'll say game 4. Because I think he might be out another week. Because I know they were saying that they were reevaluating him at this point, and then they said, okay, we're gonna have to take another maybe few days to reevaluate the injury. So I think if he can, like, if they're up 2-1 or down 2-1, I could see PG-13 coming back and trying to help extend the series. So give me Suns in 7.
I mean, you saying that as if I don't want to stretch this conversation too much longer, but Paul George ain't he ain't gonna be able to do that. None of that offsets what the Suns do, in my opinion.
Oh, so he's not no factor? Like, damn.
I'm not saying. I mean, obviously he's a factor. I mean, clearly he's a factor.
Damn, yo.
Like, I don't like. All right.
They need Paul George though. Like,
absolutely. Look.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Devin Booker's better than Paul George. Kevin Durant's better than Kawhi Leonard. That's what I'll say.
Okay. Clippers, I will say this in favor of the Clippers. They play better defense, which is why I think this series gets extended a bit. Part of why I think this series gets extended. Yeah, give me Suns in 7. I think they're gonna have to work for this one to get out of this one. I think so. So again, man, appreciate you. Starting late with this podcast, bro.
That's unprofessional. That is unprofessional.
What happened? What you do?
Me yawning.
Oh.
Bad enough I look high every time I record.
All good. it's all good. It's all good. Like I was telling Sim, he got the luxury box suite at the Garden, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna purchase a ticket, and hopefully that game 4 is on a Saturday. I know the way that the schedule pans out, so game 1 is Saturday for us, and then you're probably looking at maybe every other day of games there, and that game 4 should fall on a Saturday, hopefully, and if that's the case, then for me it's the Amtrak ride to and fro. So that's gonna be dope right there, man.
I hope that work out for you, man.
I hope so, man. I hope so. Appreciate it. Appreciate everybody in the chats. See my homie Carlton Henry in the YouTube live chat. See Juan Ovale in the Facebook live chat.
What up?
He had some comments earlier about when we were talking the football stuff. He said Stafford was overpaid, and then said something that OBJ can make them better if Lamar targets him and if he does his role and distract the defense. Sort of in line with what I was talking about, but we don't want to rehash that. And I know you disagree, but it is what it is. The vibes is all good right now. I'm feeling the good vibes right now, man. It's a good time of the year, bro. It's a good time of the year, man.
Hey, man. Get the hell up out of here.
Folks, continue to follow us on social media. Follow us on Twitter at Barbershop SPOR2. Follow us on Instagram at Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Click the like button on the Facebook page. If you want to email us with some questions or comments, the email address is barbershopsportstalk1@gmail.com. And if you want to write us a review on whatever streaming service you're listening to us on, whether it's Apple, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google, make sure you drop us a review. Let us know what you think about the show, and all will be good from there, man. Bruh, again, man, appreciate you, man.
All day.
No doubt. Folks, y'all have a great week. Enjoy the games, and we'll be back next week with another dope one. And as always, folks, mind your business.
And have some water.
Recording stopped.